In the meeting.
Yeah.
Do you have the sheet for public comment? The sheet for public comment? No, the public comment. I stopped and I really should be introducing myself today. So, I'm sorry. Got one. I'm sorry. And there is somebody else too.
We'll call this meeting to order. It is the mission of Montague Area Public Schools to educate and inspire all students to become motivated, articulate, productive, and successful citizens for today, tomorrow, and forever. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could we have roll call, please?
Dr. Unger?
Here.
Mrs. Dahl?
Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Mrs. Francis? Mr. Weisheisen?
Here.
Mr. Rath?
Here.
Mrs. Wilfong?
Here. Thank you. Item 4 is approval of the agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion made by Tom, support by Brent. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5 is for approval of the consent agenda as presented. Motion made by Tom, supported by Scott. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6 is public comment portion of the meeting. Public comments will be accepted at this time. Each statement will be limited to 5 minutes in duration. Participants shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. The board welcomes public comment but does not respond to citizens at its meetings. At the citizen's request and the board's direction, the superintendent or designee will respond in a timely manner. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. I see we have a couple. Looks like Margaret Haynes, if you'd come up to the front, state your name, and then we will go ahead. We will be timing.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yep, excellent.
I go by Margot Haynes, but I'm on the ballot for the school board under Margaret Haynes, and I just wanted to introduce myself to you and to the folks here. We have a very fine school board. You don't necessarily have to vote for me, but now you know who I am.
Thank you, Margot. Next up, we have Brian Holmstrom. Hospital, thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Hostica. I'm the Democratic candidate for state representative here in this new 102nd district, which stretches from Fruitland Township in the south all the way up to Manistee in the north. And I'm a public school graduate. I have 2 kids they're both public school graduates. And one of my motivating factors in running for this office is the relentless demonization of public schools that's going on, and it's been getting worse. And there are people that are just relentless in slandering public schools, and it's all part of a money grab. Here's their playbook. Tell parents that your kindergartners are being sexualized by their teachers, or that 8th graders are being taught to hate themselves because of slavery, or that critical race theory is being taught in public schools. These are lies, and they're designed to undermine confidence in public schools, so it's easier to get taxpayer public school money and funnel it into private for-profit enterprises. And this narrative has to be fought, and I'm committed to doing that, because democracy begins with public schools. It's where we ensure that we have an educated, electorate, which is critical for democracy to function. Thank you for letting me introduce myself, and I hope I have your backing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item 7, your reports.
All right, first on our reports list, we do have the audit report by Brotherville Hefner. They did do a report more in depth with our finance committee. That was prior to this board meeting. Went in depth. Cindy, who could not be here tonight due to sickness, but she is a part of that committee along with Amanda Dahl, Amanda Hunger. Went in more in depth, but he will give kind of the overview and the highlights of what took place in that finance committee.
Hello, I'm Mike Radeveld with Radeveld Hefner LLC, and we worked on the audit of the school here. First thing to point out, on page 1, in the first paragraph there, you'll see the opinion, and that is a good, clean opinion. That's what you're looking for when you get an audit. No issues to report there. Next thing to point out, on page 25 in footnote number 2, you will see the deficit net position common with schools, but I just wanted to point out that that's there. And then moving back on page 5 of the management's discussion and analysis, I just want to point out those financial highlights. You'll see the general fund balance did increase during the year. And also on page 7, near the bottom is where you'll see that fund balance in the general fund represents 7.7% of the expenditures, so that's a good, healthy fund balance for a school to have. Footnote 3, back on page 25 now, there's a little sentence at the end that just says no expenditures over the budgeted amounts, so that's a good thing. They stayed in their budget. And then on page 41, you'll see a subsequent event footnote I wanted to point out. You'll see the last paragraph there is the bond issuance. That's the bond that's not quite issued yet, but you're expecting soon. Way to the end of the audit report, you'll see our single audit section. And on page 57 is the single audit report. We looked at the Education Stabilization Fund this year and the Nutrition Fund, which is essentially all of your food service money. And in the first paragraph there, you'll see that's another good, clean opinion, no issues to report on the single audit side of things. And then in the governance letter, that's a separate attachment. You will, again, this is all canned verbiage in this footnote, and the second page of that and other audit findings or issues. That's where, if we had any issues, they would be reported. We had no issues or recommendations this year. Any questions?
Any questions? All right, thank you. I'd also just like to add my own piece and making sure that you noted, you did specify that it was a clean audit, that is rating. As you'll notice in there was an increase in the fund balance from $2,213,000 to $2,326,000. As you remember, we did start with a deficit budget last year in the tune of $600,000+, and to increase that fund balance was a great accomplishment by the district to make sure that we be fiscally responsible in that. Once again, we do take a very conservative approach to our fund balance, or to our budgeting process, to look at those worst case scenarios. He did mention the 7.7% fund balance. When we often talk about the fund balances, we don't include the $770,000 that does need to be included in their audit findings for our MIPSers, and those would be past retirement dollars that it's money in, money out, but if for some reason something was to happen, the district would be considered to have those dollars, so that does need to be a part of that process. But we're actually working over a 12% fund balance now. Once again, we have passed a deficit budget. This is a reminder back in July, or at the end of June there, a deficit budget, and we will once again be fiscally responsible, looking forward to increase or have the balance close to balancing as we can. Next, we have our principal meaningful minutes. Volunteers to go first.
Hi, everyone. We spent the first month at the MAC teaching our youngest Wildcats to be safe, be kind, and be in control in every area of the building. And we really wanted to teach and make students feel like there was a love of reading in our building. And I guess I wanted to share how full my bucket was when our first indoor recess day, I had indoor recess coverage in one of the rooms, and 11 of the 21 students chose to read big books with teacher pointers on the floor, which was just super exciting. There was trucks and Legos and all kinds of things, and instead they wanted to pretend they were teachers, which was lots of fun. We did start the year down 2 employees at the MAC, so 2 of our long-time at-risk paraprofessionals retired in the spring, and they will be sorely missed and very, very hard to replace. But we did do some interviews last week and found 2 replacements that will be starting hopefully next week once their fingerprints are cleared and they're ready to go. So we're very excited about that. We are finishing up our Fire Safety Week, and our culminating activity is the fire trucks that will be here tomorrow. So our kindergartners will be able to try on the safety gear of our firemen, climb on the fire trucks, and spray the fire hose, which is a huge, exciting day for kids, and we will guarantee have a lot more children that want to be firemen at the end of the day. And then finally, next week, our kids are heading to Weese's to go through an event called Spookly, which is really intended to encourage students to be good friends and to speak up when they see wrongdoing or unkind words happening. That's it at the MAC.
I'm filling in for Mr. Henderson. He's being a dad at the soccer parent night tonight for his senior. We're off to a great start at RRO. We had an opening day assembly for the first time in 3 years, so that was great to have everybody in the same room together. Introduce new staff, welcome new students, went over the expectations. Last Friday, proud to say, we handed out over 300 cookies to our Wildcat Heroes, so kids who earned 5 tickets in the first month of school, 310 to be exact, so that's pretty amazing. 4th and 5th grade students went to Art Prize again this year. They were both in Grand Rapids for about 3 hours on 2 different days. So they had a great time with that. Harvest Day picnic, some of you were there. And that was also a great experience. Mr. Gorman does an amazing job. The FFA students were there. They helped set up a lot of things. There was a corn maze and great activities with information for kids. There were over 900 meals served, and it is for sure the best meal of the year. So if you missed it, make sure you come next year. And then our 3rd graders are going to pool school again this year. It's at Muskegon Heights, when they have a beautiful facility. The pool, the teachers love going there because it's so nice and easy to get kids in and out. They are there spending about 45 minutes in the pool and then another 45 minutes in a classroom session learning all about water safety, which is really important in this area. So I'm just glad to have the opportunity to do that and moving into October. So.
Good evening. We got lots going on at the middle school. I feel like it's been a while since I've given you an update. I hope all of you had a chance to see the video from aviation camp, from the summer camp we did in August for the middle schoolers here in the county. We had 7 from NBC take part in that. And that is a camp in coordination with Orchard View Middle School, Montague Middle School, and some help from the ISD. So they were a week out at the airport and up at the Oceana County Airport on Tuesday. It was a great time. And that event's getting bigger every year. So if you didn't see the video, let me know. I'll send it over. It's pretty cool. We had our first community lunch a couple weeks ago, so we do those 3 times a year. We have all the kids from the lunch come in and sit down in tables of 8, and we eat lunch family style, and have teachers come in. We have a teacher at every table, and it's just a great way to build community within our school. So we have 2 more of those. One is on January 27th, and one is on June 2nd. If any of you would like to come, we would love to have you. We'll put you at a table and let you hang out with middle schoolers at lunch. You would think that their complaint would be, I don't get recess because it takes us a little longer to serve and clean up. And at the end of that lunch, the majority of the kids ask if they can eat lunch like that every day. And I had some who have told me that they don't eat dinner like that at home. This is the first time they've had dinner like that. So, really great event, and kudos to Mr. Gorman and his wonderful staff. Along those lines, we had National School Lunch Day today, so all of the ladies in the lunch room decorated that all in 70s gear. We had disco music playing, disco balls going. The kids had a great time at lunch. The 8th graders spontaneously started a train all through the lunchroom. So if you need entertainment or a great time, come check out middle school lunch. Robotics team is underway. That competition is on November 19th. So our team has to build a robot that will pick up these cones that have a hole in them, and they need to pick them up and place them on stakes that are in the middle of their field. There's about a 12 by 12 field. Some of the stakes are about a foot tall. Some are over about 2.5 feet, and you get more points for getting on the higher one than the lower one. So you work with another team to stack as many of these on these stakes, pick them up and put them through the stake this way. So fairly complicated robot you have to build, and our middle schoolers are working on that and having a great time. That's an after-school club. Our Build to Fly is going to start again here soon. They're going to do a little bit here this fall, and they're going to start building gliders instead of a remote control plane. They move a little slower. We can fly them out in the football field behind the school. So we'll get that group up and going. We've also added an additional coding class this year. We now have a coding class at 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And Dan Nesbitt went to some training over the summer, and he's offering that as well. So another cool opportunity for our kids. They are learning Java and how to code websites at the moment. So, yeah, that's it.
Good evening. Like NBC, the high school seems to be a very busy place. I joke with people that this building never sleeps. It seems like you come by here any time of day or night and there's some activity going on, so I just snagged a few highlights of different things. First thing, the last 14 months since I've taken this job, we've got 20 new people either in the high school or 20 old people doing new positions in the high school. A lot of transition, but I feel like with all that transition, we're off to a pretty good start this year. We've got work to do, but I think everybody in the building is working hard to improve and learn and get better, including students, staff, and the administration. We had a great week last week with all the homecoming festivities, including the all-district assembly for the first time in 3-ish years, maybe. All kinds of dress-up days, parade, game, dance, floats, all kinds of good stuff there. Emma Peterson and Owen Fairchild were honored as king and queen. Owen, along with being the homecoming king, I learned recently, has moved up to number 2 on the list of fastest times for cross-country here at Montague High School. He keeps making great gains there. Speaking of sports, believe it or not, some sports are already in postseason mode, you might say. Our soccer team plays in district on Wednesday at Whitehall. Natalie Kellogg and Mackenzie Goodrow from the girls golf team will compete in the MHSA state finals this weekend. I don't know how it can be that time already, because it feels like we just started. Looking ahead to a few things, this Friday and here we'll kick off our Ride with Pride program that dovetails nicely with our True Blue to the Core and promoting positive behaviors and offer some big prizes, including the Ford Escape you'll see parked by the flagpole as you come in and out of the parking lot here. Parent-teacher conference is already next week, Wednesday and Thursday. The band Glow Show is Monday, October 24th. If you have not seen that event, make sure you stop out that evening and take a look at that. It's a very impressive event and draws a huge crowd for a pretty awesome night. National Honor Society will be inducting 25 new members this year, and that'll happen on October 25th. And then in a moment, you're going to hear more from our FFA, but Our state champion Greenhand Conduct of Meetings team will be traveling to Indianapolis in late October to compete at FFA Nationals. From their winnings at the state level, they now move on to compete at the national level. So a few good things happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to our principals. Obviously, a year that seems to be more normalized in regards to the past couple of years, but yet obviously it's another change. So kudos to them on all their work as they continue to adapt things here in the district. Next on the list, we have our FFA calendar and yearly events by our FFA. Board members, you have it on your slideshow also. Presentation.
Alright, hello, I'm Cassie Vizard from the Montague FFA Officer Team. And I'm Anna Waller from the Montague FFA Officer Team. This is just like an update on what we've been doing and what we are going to do throughout the year. So, you might be wondering, what is FFA? Well, right now it's the largest youth organization, and it used to stand for Future Farmers of America, but now it's just simply FFA. Typically, people like to call it the National Leadership Organization or something of the sort. Montague is a top 10 chapter in the state and a top 25 chapter in the nation. And it was also founded on March 5th of 1931, and their first official advisor was Raymond Robert O'Hearley. How cool is that? He also is like what our middle school is named after. No, elementary school. As you know, the Montague 2022 bond proposal was passed in August. This gives the school $12.7 million to put into extracurricular activities. This includes an addition of a brand new FFA barn. Some future plans that we have for this FFA barn is to put in a food processing plant so that it can promote farm to table. Earlier this year, the 2022 officers went on a retreat to the UP. This included a Picture Rocks cruise, Sandpoint Beach, Oswald Bear Ranch, and lots of chapter planning. This is where we do all of our planning and team bonding, like for the entire year. We also had some student highlights so far this year. So Harvest Day is back. The Ag Leadership class puts that on with multiple booths with different crops and produce and with information on them and games to go with them for the kids. We have also had Frontline Guardians working on the Veterans Wall, and Ag Leadership class is collecting products for a purpose to benefit the Muskegon Rescue Mission. So far, we have collected 1,244 products in total just in the school. And then Fremont FFA also brought a few products as well as the community. Some 2022-2023 chapter highlights that you'll see. The first picture is last year's Ag Leadership class repainting the dugouts. And then we have Destiny Fisher working on SAE projects of making flower bouquets. And then we have Genevieve Kroll and Elma Rand doing an experiment in Ag Bio. Below that, we have the Vet Science class performing a lab on how to make casts and bandage animals. And then Emma Waller also received the American degree, which only 1% of FFA members can get, so that's pretty exciting. This summer, some FFA members went to the Dairy Expo at MSU, so you can see Kennedy Johnson showing her dairy cow. And then the last picture is the Ag Leadership class last year planting trees at the Research Center. Some 2022-2023 contest highlights. In the first picture, we have El Moran and Abby Tallquist receiving the news that they're going to be going to state in their public speaking leadership contest. Next to that, we have the meat judging, and then below that is the floral culture skills contest. Both meat judging and floral culture are skills contests. In that contest, members practice career developing abilities. In the picture next to that one, we have our Green Hand Conduct of Meeting team winning first at state, and they're going to be competing at nationals at the end of this month, the 26th through the 28th. They're our first Green Hand Conduct of Meeting to make it to nationals. And then in the last picture, we have some proficiency award winners.
Right now we have our broiler project going on. There are 125 birds at the school. These are raised by our Ag Bio classes, and each class has their own pen, which they take care of and clean up after every single day. We also have 225 birds being raised at home by students, and these will all be competing at the state broiler competition the first week of November, and that will take place at Munsell's Processing in Fowlerville. This is also a farm-to-table experience last year, where the food service here at Montague bought all of our chickens and also served them to the students at the school. We also had Santa Stop last year and plan on having it this year. Last year's theme was the Grinch, so you can see Whoville, and they got to read a story, get a snack, and do some crafts, and I think they had a dance party too.
This is our 6th official year of FFA at the NBC. So far, we've had a state winner in public speaking, Abby Tallquist. El Moran placed 3rd at state for public speaking as well. And we had a junior high conduct of meetings place 4th at state also. You can also see some thankfulness projects, which includes the table of bags. Each teacher at the NBC has a bag, and then students throughout the day or throughout the week can drop in cards in the teacher's bag and write on the cards what they're thankful for. And then at the end of the week, the teachers get to read everything that a student is thankful for them. And then we also have Miss Lemon teaching the students about Buddy, and students performing an landscaping experiment.
All right, and that is all for the slideshow, but we also have some exciting things going on right now. We do have some baby bunnies in the barn. Those are student bred and raised. And then we also have National Convention coming up on the 26th to the 28th, and Montague Market coming up on the 22nd. Which is a student-run market with student-made products to showcase their small businesses, and community members can come and buy those products too.
Some fun things that we have going on this week in FFA is we have a s'mores event going on after school on Wednesday, so all the students can come and make s'mores and play some games and just have time to build community. And then on Friday, we also have Drive Your Tractor to School Day, so everybody that owns a tractor can drive it to school.
So, yeah, come check all that out, and then also thank you for your time today.
Yes.
Nice.
That concludes our presentation.
Board members, do you have any questions for these young ladies? All right, great job. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda, we have our DECA calendar and yearly events presented by our DECA students.
Good evening. I am Lizette Guzman. I'm Olena Guerrero.
And I'm Sophia Pero.
We are from Montague DECA, and we are here to present about potential DECA field trips for 2022-2023.
So first we have a State Leadership Conference in Lansing on November 3rd through the 4th.
Next up, we'll have the Sports and Entertainment Market Conference on December 1st in Detroit.
We have a district competition January 4th in Big Rapids.
And then we have a State Career Development Conference March 9th through 11th in Detroit.
And last but not least, our International Career Development Conference in Orlando, Florida on April 21st to the 22nd or 26th.
Thank you. Thank you.
Board members, do we have any questions for Rebecca? Presentation. Thank you ladies for the presentation. Okay, and moving on into the superintendent comments, your favorite part of the day. As we move forward, you do see two new hires here within the district. Sue Dyer, who was with us previously through Edge's staff, but now as a cook-aid custodian, kind of working between two departments over at the MAC, along with June Evergreen, a custodian here at the high school. Actually around the district as a whole, but specifically in the high school as of late. Other information that I would like to point out as well, we did have a Community Employee Relations Committee earlier between the two board meetings here. And up for discussion was the policy that was previously mentioned about board members volunteering or coaching within the district. The topic of discussion was we had a board member that was wondering if it was feasible to work and volunteer as a coach of a club team, as the basketball program is looking to increase its program-wise and looking at a freshman team or a club program. At this point in time, although we still, as a committee, did not want to change the policy and still have that opportunity for volunteering, but that any of that opportunity would be brought to the board. In that mode, it was agreed that this wouldn't be the best case scenario for the board member to look to coach a club team within the district. So just an update on that. Also speaking about committees, moving forward, I guess I'd like to hear your voice a little bit if you object, but we publicly post our community or committee meetings. That is not necessarily something that has to be done legally, but I do think it is a transparency within the district when 3 members of the board are meeting. We post that, but we have not been posting any minutes with that or an agenda with that, so I do think moving forward, and talking with our lawyer, not that it is a legal step, but he did feel that if it was going to be posted, that there should at least be a minutes of what took place. It does not need to be detailed, but a overview of what took place in that process to show true transparency in that process. So please feel free to give me any update or information on that, but moving forward, please note that that will be taking place. School student board representatives. I have another question as we did start here at the high school and looking for an applicant for a student rep here for the board, which we have done in the past. That was pre-COVID, and that process as we're moving back to this, I want to make sure that I'm on the same page of what we're looking for. We're looking for a student voice amongst the students that would look to present information to the board around some of the student voice in the district. On that, the question was then asked, does it have to be a senior? And that has been a past representative. Is a senior, it is something that would then take place every year. Is that still the case? Then what we'd like to do is have it in a senior. Would it be something that a junior can have it for 2 years? The problem with that being is that on the off years, an individual from a grade level would not have that opportunity. Process would look like those that signed up. We do have a sign-up sheet. We had 7 individuals sign up. 4 of them are seniors, so we do have 4 seniors that are interested in that position. We would, myself and Mr. Hanson would run through an interview process to pick the most suitable for the board in that process. Moving away from seniors, if you have an objection, not moving away from seniors, or any insight you'd like to provide on that, please let me do so, but please look for that moving forward. Also on our list, the 98C dollars, the federal funds. We've, over the past couple of board meetings, talked a lot about the 98B, 98C. The 98C grant funds talked about the learning loss that took place and the funds that are attached to that through the educational continuity of learning plans. That is the plan that we passed previously here as a board. It is a continuation by using those federal funds that you say that you're using those for. In those, as you remember, we did talk about using, in the plan anyway, it was using those dollars for interventionists within our district both at an elementary, but here at the secondary level as well, to meet the needs of those at-risk students that are still struggling post-pandemic, but as a whole. The last one that I have is please communicate with me. There are dollars. Last board meeting I talked a lot about different grant fundings around safety and security. There are dollars that have been recently passed around those. The two major components that take place, and this would be money in and money out of the district, but one was for an assessment, a safety assessment of the district. We will be partnering with Secure Educational Consultants. They are the forerunners in this. This is a company that everyone in Muskegon County is using in that. They were the partners within the state in receiving the pricing for the $2,000 assessment, district assessment. So they will come in, they will give us assessment in which they will actually present and share with the board as well. And then for the dollars associated with mapping and critical incident situations, the mapping of the district, we will be using CRG, also known as Critical Response Group. The Critical Response Group, we as a ISD really felt like it's important that we try to stay as congruent as we can in the county for our law enforcement as we worked in these meetings with Sheriff Poulin and a safety task force throughout Muskegon County that law enforcement is involved with. Within that, those dollars, one of the set dollars that will be coming to the district, it preceded us to take a yes or no. Would we like these additional funds for safety security measures? And it lists a number of different things, those being professional development for staff, cameras, SROs, a school resource officer is one of those usable funds. We, at this point in time, do not know what that dollar amount will be, but it is a discussion that I will want to get in and make sure that is presented at the next board meeting around a school resource officer. Our current dollars and budget don't show that, but depending on dollars and needs, and I'm really hoping that the timing will work out appropriately with our assessment to really show the district as a whole what our assessment needs are, and we utilize those dollars for that. But in application, there is additional funding through the Michigan State Police that there is an SRO application which the state would match 50%, 50% of a resource officer. So that is something that should be considered at this point in time with a 50% match, although that means we as a district still have to come up with that 50% and then looking at a long-term plan as well. So those will all be in the discussions. Please, please feel free to contact me with thoughts on that. And like I said, at the next board meeting, we'll have a discussion on that topic. I should have some concrete numbers as to what that might look like. And that is it for superintendent comments.
All right, thank you. Item 8 is new business. Letter A of that is to approve the 2021-22 financial audit as presented. The motion. Motion made by Tom, support by Jennifer. Any discussion?
Once again, as we stated previously by the presentation, this was a clean audit, which is the highest rating that we can receive. Increased our fund balance by over $100,000, which gives us a fund balance of over 12%, and that we once again have a deficit budget, but yet we want to make sure that we're fiscally responsible so we can have those same needs due to the conservative budget that we do as a district.
Any other discussion?
I just want to thank Stacy and Jeff. I know that that's a lot of work, and the increased fund balance is quite impressive, so thank you.
Yes, and I will give extra kudos to Stacy. She is extremely well prepared. The auditors thank her very much for all the work that she does. She has been great in that process, and they always give her lots of kudos, so that is an extra help. So thank you to her.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item B is a motion to approve Stacy Brown opening a bond debt service account with Miley.
Support.
Motion made by Amanda, support by Tom. Discussion.
All right, so this is the debt service part of the bond that we had worked through. And this will pay the principal and the interest for the bond payments that are coming. By putting it in this account, we are able to accrue interest on this before the payments take place, so we'll provide the district additional monies in that process.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item C is to approve the annual summer tax resolution as presented.
So moved. Support.
Motion made by Tom, support by Scott. Discussion?
So in this is a resolution to just approve that the monies are from the summer tax resolution is being collected from the taxpayers for the district.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item D, motion to approve the agreements for the collection of summer taxes for White River Township and for the city of Montague.
Support.
Motion made by Scott, support by Amanda. Discussion?
So seeing that the district has had resolutions to receive money from taxpayers as far as the summer tax collection, because remember, not all districts do winter and summer tax collections. We do both, just to make sure that the cash flow works properly throughout the district. In that summer tax collection, we then have an agreement that we work with the White River Township and the city of Montague for it is up to $3 a parcel to create that extra cash flow for the district.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item E is to authorize certified delegate, myself, or alternate Cindy Francis, to vote on resolutions of the delegate assembly as agreed upon by the board.
Support.
Motion made by Amanda, support by Tom. Discussion. And if anyone else is willing or dying to go, by all means, you can.
These are the two delegates that have been in previous as well, but as Amanda has stated, please feel free if you are interested and would like this position, speak up.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item F, to consideration to approve the bond ratification resolution as presented.
Support.
Motion made by Scott, support by Tom. Discussion.
So last week we did have the sale of the bonds, and it went well for us with a dollar amounts over the past couple months have steadily declined within bond sales, but we were lucky enough last Tuesday and Wednesday to have the best two-day back-to-back sale days since August 11th. So that was an awesome day for us in relative speaking. So it's not necessarily that the district made extra money, but it was something that could have the decline or the numbers that we thought could possibly be there with a lesser sale of those bonds. So it will meet the dollars that we had originally presented to the board. We'll meet those dollars for the district.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item G is consideration to approve the addition of the astronomy class to the high school curriculum.
So moved. Support.
Motion made by Tom, support by Scott. Discussion.
So this is a class that has been previously, but we will be adding to the high school this year as we move forward into the second semester, providing more opportunities for our high school students as we're looking at the second semester schedule, looking to provide some more opportunities in that second semester. This course currently has not currently with the current student body been assessed, but in previous years it offers 20 to 25 students, 9th to 12th grade, were able to take the class of a semester length. It has shown interest in the past, therefore giving an opportunity outside some of the ag sciences that we currently have as electives in the school.
Any other?
Someone that can teach that?
We do. There was some uncertainty at the beginning of the year when we made the course catalog around teacher Mr. Betray, around that due to his service that takes place. He has since returned, so he will be teacher of record for this class.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item H is consideration to approve the addition of Principles of Technologies class to the high school curriculum. Motion made by Scott, support by Amanda. Discussion?
Another opportunity for second semester. Once again, very similar situation, but with Mr. Latreille in the district. This is another course that could be taught at the secondary level.
I just wanted to say that I think anytime we're adding classes and giving kids more choices, that's something that we should really be proud of, especially as some of these translate directly into post-secondary goals. So, good stuff. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item I is consideration to approve the FFA calendar of events as presented. Motion made by Tom. Support by Brent. Discussion?
So you heard the presentation from our FFA officers. You also received the calendar of events that were there throughout the school year that would look to get your approval.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item J is consideration to approve the DECA calendar of events as presented.
Support.
Motion made by Scott, support by Tom. Discussion?
Once again, you heard the presentation from our DECA students as well, and that would be the approval of their calendar of events. I also just want to know for both calendar of events, I can't tell you how many times in conversations that I get in at the superintendency level around meetings and conferences that may take place, that the ability for a district our size to be able to have these opportunities within our DECA and FFA and the leadership qualities that it allows, not only for the CTE programming side of things that work right to the real life world, but then also that leadership opportunities at state conventions and being able to see and meet other people in that process. So.
Any other discussion? All those in... Oh. I think they excused themselves.
Just saying, you didn't present, stick around to the end.
Julie, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 9 is, I believe, a roll call vote to go into closed session at this time for discipline hearing.
Dr. Hendrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Dahl?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Francis? Mr. Weisheisen?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mrs. Wilhelm?
Yes.
Thank you. Students, if you have papers that you need signed, you can come and do that at this time, and then we'll excuse you to start the discipline hearing. Thank you all.